What is up, my nerd familia, and welcome back to another episode of Games y Mas, the podcast where we're talking about all things board games, video games, and a little splash of pop culture. I'm your host, Vic, and today we have another top shelf or yard sale segment here. We're going to be looking at Harmonies, a fun abstract game of, how many players is it, Lana?
It is 1, 2, I want to say it's 4, but I have it right here, and I will tell you, 1 to 4.
It's a 1 to 4 player game, abstract-ish, very, well, we'll dive into it a little bit, but if those that are watching on YouTube or are listening, we have navigator Lana with us, joining us here today on our episode. Very excited, so honored and humbled. Thank you so much, Lana, for taking the time.
Thank you for having me on. I'm always so excited to get on here and connect with people. I know we're really similar on that. I just my sole driving purpose of everything is I just want to talk to people and connect with people and get to know people.
So I'm very excited. We're gonna get to know you a little bit more and ask the icebreaker questions and then see if this game is worthy to be on your top shelf. Harmony, it's a fun game. I love playing it. The one time I played, or 1.5 time I played, but I enjoyed it. I want to get back on it. I want to play for sure. With all that being said, guys, pull up a chair, grab some dice, y acompáñeme a jugar. All right, Navigator Lana, thank you so much for joining us here on this podcast episode here. Very excited to talk Harmonies, get to know you a little bit more. I know you're a busy woman. You got a lot of things going on, and so the time the effort that you made to take some time here to join us, I'm very honored, very humble. Thank you so much for joining us here. Before we get into the whole Harmonies deep dive and talking about if it's worthy your top shelf, we ask all our new guests here, first-timer guests here, icebreaker questions. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. It's okay, no worries. We'll go ahead and ask them here. It's a two-parter question, and we'll go ahead and deep dive and get to know you a little bit more about these questions here. So the first question is, what is your favorite board game of all time? Now, being a hardcore board gamer, Lane, I know it's very tough to just narrow it down to just one game. Maybe you do have one. If you know, it's all right. So I always give those that are kind of struggling with figuring out one, I'll give you a top 3. If you want to go top 3 favorite board games of all time. And those that are listening, that are thinking like, what constitutes as a board game? I'm thinking, we're including everything: card games, dice games, party games, tabletop games. Lena, you know everything. You know all about that, so you don't have to emphasize everything. But for those that are listening, they're wondering what that is. And then the second part of the question is, what is your favorite video game of all time? Here at Games y Mas, we're a board game and video game podcast, and so we want to know if you have a favorite video game. It could be anything maybe that you enjoy playing now, or maybe something from your childhood that was memorable. I'll even throw in, again, also top 3 if you can't narrow it down to top 3. And then I'm also including arcades. If there's any arcade games, doesn't got to be a console or a computer game. It could be an arcade game. That I have a long list of arcade games that I love playing, that I enjoyed playing as a kid. And so, I'm very curious to hear from Lana here. We'll go ahead and take it away. The floor is yours. We can start off with your favorite board game, and then we'll segue into the video game. So, Lana, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, it's very difficult to narrow down the favorite board game, but I will say for sure, hands down, one of my top favorites of all times has been Azul, which came out maybe a little over 5, 6, 7 years ago or so now. Okay. It came out in 2017, I think.
Yeah.
And that has just been one of my all-time favorites. It's simple. For me, it's quick now. I can go through that game in probably like 15 minutes and be done, fly through the game, but it is one that I constantly have on rotation. I will take it anytime anybody says you want to sit down and play that one. I will always play Azul. That's definitely one of my favorites. Okay. Another one of my top favorites of the past couple of years has been Planet Unknown, which is a sort of polyomino game where you're putting tiles onto a planet and building up different parts of your planet resources on the little side tracker. Builds that up. After that, that's always extremely difficult. As of late, some of the ones I've really liked as of late, I liked Votes for Women a lot recently. I liked Island Something Shiny. Harmonies has also been on some of my top ones. And one of my other favorites for a long time, but has finally creeped down a little bit in the ranks, was Tiny Epic Pirates. But it's finally started kind of getting pushed down just a little bit more. Yep. Okay. But those are some of my top favorites. I'm always constantly looking at my shelf going, which other ones do I like? And sometimes I try to narrow it down by even my top favorites of last year. Like last year, one of my top favorites was actually Harmonies. Tir na Nog came out last year, and that was also another one of my favorites. That's not even on BGA. That's just one that was out last year. One of my other favorites. And then the second part of that with the video games, I enjoy my video games. And again, it's one of those things that's very difficult to narrow down for as of late or a while back.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorites from the time I was extremely young on original Game Boy was Tetris. That was always one of my favorites. I was surprised with liking Planet Unknown, liking Azul. It's always a joke that any Polyomino game, board game, I am hands down right there, always ready to play it in a moment because I've had such a long love of Tetris. But I still always but I've always enjoyed Street Fighter. Was also another one of my all-time favorites.
Okay.
If we're going, like we said, arcade games, classic arcade game when I was young was toss between like the classic of like Pac-Man, but I also really like the Simpsons arcade game and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ones.
Yes.
If you're ever in Pittsburgh, we have a retro gaming fair every year in October in Pittsburgh, and they bring in tons of old arcade games. So every year we get to go back and play the Simpsons and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. It is awesome. It's phenomenal. But then even in recent ones, the past couple years, Zelda, Zelda was a recent one, one of the newer ones. Breath of the Wild was really good, and I even really liked Pokemon Sword. Okay. So I like a lot of Nintendo games. Mario Kart is always that. The new Nintendo Switch 2 is over behind this wall over there. I'm pretty sure they're on it right now. So.
Nice. No, definitely.
But I love video games a lot too. Not quite the same level as board games, but that's also hard to narrow down. But those are some of my sort of recent and old-time favorites that I still love to this day.
No, for sure. No, I mean, I'm with you there. Where like my love for video games and board games are like always teetering. I'm like, it depends on like the week, maybe. Like 1 week I'll be like, I love video games a lot. And the next week, like, I love board games a lot more. So it's like, it's always teetering. It's always teetering. But I mean, your selections are great. Your board game selections, phenomenal. Planet Unknown has been on my list for such a long time. I need to play that game. I've been wanting to play that game for so long.
If you're ever on BGA, it is on BGA. I do like the physical version, but the BGA implementation is pretty good too. Okay. It's a pretty good version of it. But yeah, anybody ever wants to play it on BGA, I will always sit down and pop down and play Azul or the ones that I named on there. Azul or Planet Unknown on BGA. Just come and find me, and I will start a game with me, and I will. We'll
definitely change. We'll swap usernames, and then we'll add each other on BGA so we can get some rounds going. Because man, I'm loving it. I want to play more on BGA for sure. Nothing beats a physical copy, like you said. Correct. Nothing beats a physical copy. But the ease of access. I can't take weekly trips over to Pittsburgh to come play with you. It's like that.
Exactly.
So definitely, but yes, phenomenal choices on the board games, phenomenal choice in the video games. Great games. I mean, the old Street Fighters, the Ninja Turtle games, the Simpsons games on the arcades. Oh man, I remember playing those games on the arcade, asking my mom for quarters so I could go play these games. Oh my goodness. Oh, that brought some good memories. Thank you so much for sharing that for the icebreaker questions, getting to know you a little bit more on those. We want to do I'd like to get to know you a little bit more now. And let any of the viewers here that are watching that have never heard of you or seen your content. First of all, which you guys should already. You should be following her and stuff like that. Navigator Lana on Instagram. Are you on Instagram or anywhere else? TikTok or?
I am on most of this. I'm most active on Instagram, but I am on kind of every other platform that there is, you name it, and I'm probably on there. The least amount on YouTube, but I finally have started kind of dabbling a little bit into YouTube, just with shorts right now. Okay. But I'm also do a little bit on TikTok. I'm also on X and Blue Sky, and even a little bit on Facebook. But Instagram's my primary source. I even just recently restarted a couple months ago. Restarted up on like a formal blog because I kind of missed the lengthier when I had a lot more to say about a game than what Instagram allows you with 2,200 characters. There were sometimes that I just had a lot more to say. So I restarted up a blog for people who like to read lengthier article or lengthier reviews. Right. I have that on there, but mostly Instagram is my hub of my main spot where I hang out.
Definitely. That's how we've connected and we've been able to chat. And I love seeing your content. Love seeing you. You always give me FOMO every time you're at these conventions and you're always posting stuff. I'm like, man, I need more friends like that. I need more friends like that over here. But yeah, it's always a joy, and I always
Friends
like seeing.
everywhere.
I know exactly right. But I always see watching your posts, your reels. I love seeing the new games you're popping out with, the stuff that you're trying out. Makes me want to try it out. So you're giving me more stuff to try out. So I love it. But for those again that are unfamiliar with your content and stuff like that, if you want to give us maybe a little bit, maybe a 5-10 minute of spiel of your origin story, why Navigator Lana, and yeah, your journey into this board gaming world here. So yeah, go ahead, take it away, Lena.
All right.
Who is Navigator Lena?
Yeah, who's Navigator Lana? Well, I started, I've always liked board games, for sure. Shocking, I know. I always liked them. Even when I was in college, my now husband and I, we would like to bring board games and find ways to connect with people on our campus and people that we knew. We'd always get out the board games. As time went on, as my kids ended up getting a little bit older, I had the classic gateway game of like Ticket to Ride and Catan as the sort of gateway games that came into it. My oldest son and I, who's now just turned 18, but this was quite a few years back, he was getting really into the Pokemon TCG world. We were going into league tournaments and stuff like that. He needed somebody to kind of join with him that would actually play, so he could, try out different decks and things like that. So we kind of started off there for a little while. Would go to our local comic shop, our local game shops, wherever they were hosting. This was when I still lived on the West Coast.
Right.
And we started off there along with some games. When I moved out east, when I moved to Pittsburgh, I was looking for a way to connect with other people still. And I also always enjoyed D&D. I like tabletop RPGs. The hard thing with RPGs is that you're so reliant on other people. And if you can't get everybody together, you can't get a DM right there with you, you're kind of crippled then.
Yep.
So I reached out right when I moved out here and found out there was a couple local game shops and they had this Facebook group. Reached out and was like, I'm new to the area. This is what I like. I like games. I like this TCG. I like tabletop RPGs. Board games, you name it, I like it. Video games, the works. Who's around? What's going on? What's happening in the area? The local game shop that I routinely go to, a lot of people responded and were like, we're a really active shop. You want to come and hang out? We have a board game day every Thursday. We have these goings on. We have this going on. Well, this was also right at the same time that COVID shut everything down. Literally moved here 1 week before COVID shut everything down. Yeah. That was a very interesting way to try and connect with people. And as things started kind of reopening back up, that's when I really was like, I need to find ways to connect with people around here locally. I had a great group of friends that I was friends with down out in the West Coast, but now I need a core group of people here. So I started going to my local game shop, and lo and behold, a couple of people that I'm friends with now were always playing new games, new board games, because they run what's the Level Up board game podcast.
Yeah.
And over time, I started going that. Somebody invited me to go to Origins Game Fair. So quite a few years ago was my first time going to Origins Game Fair. And boy, it just kind of kept steamrolling since then. Yes. And eventually what happened was, as I became closer with a lot of people at that game shop, we ended up doing like the Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West. And that brought me even closer with a lot of the people. But I was routinely getting together with all of them on Thursdays for a local game shop day. They ended up asking me to come on because my friend Patrick said, I have an idea for a podcast segment for our podcast on the Level Up Board Game podcast. I think you would fit well with it. What do you think? Okay. The idea is that I now do this segment called Game Trotting. In Game Trotting, I take a game like Azul, for example, or Tir na Nog. I take a game that's sort of based out of some sort of location. Azul's story is based out of Portugal. Tir na Nog is out of Ireland. I have done Sequoia from All Player back when it was Board Game Tables. I've done Sequoia. And all of these things, I'll take it and I'll talk about the location it comes from. I'll talk about Portugal. I'll talk about Sequoia National Park. And I was doing this about 10-minute segment or so, mostly talking about the location and then tying it back into the board game. Well, that sort of prompted the nickname of the Navigator, because it was like I was taking all these people on these little trips around there. Yeah. And it was also a really neat nod because my college alumni are the Navigators. So it was a neat tie-in with both of them that I got to give a nod to my college of National University, which is the home of the navigators, and then that I was navigating around the world of taking these people on these board game trips through the podcast.
Wow.
That's kind of how Navigator came about. The segment was pretty successful, and the guys started inviting me on to come more regularly to contribute to the podcast when we were doing review games. Now I'm on there very frequently, one of the very regular contributors to there.
Yeah.
In that process, though, kind of like most of us have, as we grew more into loving the board games and we're finding friends that we have locally and constantly wanting to talk about board games, our poor, dear soul of friends that are not in this hobby get a little sick and tired of seeing you post a picture of, look at the new game that I got. Don't you want to play with me? And they're going like, oh my God, do you do anything besides talk about board games? Newsflash, no, I don't.
Yeah.
But if you're tired of hearing about it and you're only on my Facebook page because you're family and you just want to see what I'm up to with my kids, I guess I should have another account focused on this.
Yeah.
So I created, as an offshoot from the podcast, I created Navigator Lana as my Instagram page. And I use that as a way to connect with other people in the hobby that I could just feel free to ramble on all I want about board games without feeling sort of guilty that I'm inundating all my friends who don't care one bit about games or board games or everything that I'm doing at my conventions, or if I'm meeting somebody that's really cool in the board game world, that everybody will be like, oh my gosh, you got to talk to Scott Brady, and people are like, who, what? And they go, yeah, the guy who made Boop and Hughes and Cues, and everybody else in the normal world goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know why that's exciting. But
exactly.
In our world, that's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
So I started on this journey out there to just connect with people, and it helped that I have a bit of experience with knowing how to do social media. I've done that for different jobs that I've been part of. So when it came to putting myself out there under my own content, aside from the podcast, because I always say that I still contribute to the podcast, they're my great friends.
Yeah.
But when I came to putting my own stuff out there, I knew kind of how to put myself out there enough to connect with a lot of people and to really start connecting with other people that are just looking for information about board games, to other people that are just as equally obsessed, or other content creators about there. And that helped grow, and it continues to grow. So it's very exciting to see this whole process unfold with the board games and how I keep getting to connect with people.
Yeah.
And all of that. And I'm fairly certain there was something else I was going to add in there about that, and it'll probably come back to me in a minute.
Sure. Of course. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah.
It'll probably come back to me in a minute, but it's been a really neat journey. It's awesome to talk with people, to connect with people, to now I'm at the point where I get to talk to publishers. I get to sometimes connect with other designers, hear what they're all up to. And I really love it. I enjoy just talking with so many people and sharing the love of board games out there with it. And so my shtick that I sort of have that goes with the Navigator, and this is what I remember now that I was going to say, was I kind of promote it as I'm sort of like your guide to the world of board games. And what I tell people is when they're asking me, what do you like to do or what do you like to talk about? I try to say that as the guide, I like to dabble a little bit in everything. I consider myself as an omni gamer. Literally, it is hard for me not to like a game, whether it is some ridiculous, silly party game to some sort of heavier Euro, most of the heavier Euros, or, some sort of heavier game that other people would, their eyes would fall out looking at the rules of Arc Nova or, Brass Birmingham, and they go like, what? Do you want to play a game about trains and canals?
Yeah.
We got two ridiculous party games like That's Not a Hat or Flip 7. I love all of those and everything in between. And I have people in my life that are from my own kids to family to friends and coworkers that just like light board games to my heavy board gamer friends, where I can talk about Nemesis or Return to Dark Tower, all of these more beefier
Heavier
games
Yep.
or
Yep.
D&D games and everything in between. And so I like
Yeah.
to make sure that I include a little bit of something for
Oh man.
everybody in my content. So whether you're brand new to the hobby or you've been around in the hobby for a while and you've concluded that you only like games, I just want to chuck some dice and play some Ameritrash type of games, and I am perfectly content playing Yahtzee type of person. That's fine. My coworker loves Yahtzee. I don't care. As long as it brings us to the table, I am happy to talk about it. I am happy to review it or tell you what kind of games are good for you and your family or your situation, or if you're like, give me something beefy that I can sit and stare at for 5-6 hours and really get into it, that I'm like, great, let's bring hegemony to the table.
Yeah. Oh geez. Oh my gosh.
So I hit everything in between, and I like to just share whatever you're looking for. I can probably, like a good tour guide, I can probably help you find it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I am just I'm like literally everything you explained. I'm like, that's me. I'm like the male version of you, because
when I've listened to the episodes of your podcast, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like kindred spirits here.
Yes. I love every single board game you throw my way. I don't care how boring it is or how exciting it is. I will play it. I will enjoy it. I will get on the hype train of it. It doesn't matter. I love playing board games, everything. If you had to categorize me again, like I said, Omni player as well. I lean towards more Ameritrash type of gaming. I like playing a little bit more than Euros. Euros I love. Nothing wrong with Euros. That's but I have to clear headspace to focus. I have to get in the zone for this because I'm about to go to work. I'm going into I'm clocking in for this shift right now, and we're gonna play this game. Where Ameritrash is just let's just destroy things. Let's just go crazy and stuff. And I love and for those that are listening that know me as well, I love theming. I love immersion. I love getting involved into that's why I love playing D&D. I love DMing. I love being a character as well. But I just love the immersiveness of why are we doing this? What's going on? Nemesis. Beautiful game. The example of we're on the Nemesis. There's an intruder, and we got to figure. So hearing you talk, Lana, I was like, yes, we are connected. We are one.
That's really how I am too. I love getting immersed into a story, and I love if ever I'm teaching a game to somebody. It is undoubtedly, if there is some sort of little background blurb of what your story is, of some sort of thematic reason of what you're doing, you're going to hear it from me, and I try to give it in the truest of DMing voice of telling people of in Azul, you are been hired on to lay some tiles for the king. And I'll get into this whole thing. And, teaching Kieran and Rogue was hilarious because I went into this whole, Irish story. I'm not good at accents, but I'll at least try to get people immersed into the idea of what it is. And if there's no theme to it, I still try to get hyped about it and all of that. But I think it's that RPGer in you that gets really immersed into the story. So why am I doing this? Oh, okay. I don't even care if it's just chucking some dice around. Okay, I played when I was at Origins. I have a brief little video up on my Instagram and my TikTok, but I played this silly one it's new, it's coming out very soon, and it's called Our Secret Society. And it's a ridiculous party game.
Okay.
But there's actually a theme to the party game because you're becoming part of this secret society, and basically it's a last man standing type of game.
Okay.
But there's a little bit more to it because as the last man standing, you are clearly eligible to be the leader of the secret society. So everybody in the group is sort of vying to be the secret society leader. Last man standing is the secret society leader. Now, let me tell you though, it is absolutely absurd and hilarious. So it sounds like you're getting this deep methodical way to be a secret society leader, and all it is mostly just a memorization game. It was actually from the same creator who made That's Not a Hat, and they worked with them. So if you've ever played that, it's sort of that similar idea. But I like that because there was a theme to it. There's a theme of why I'm memorizing these ridiculous things. I'm trying to prove myself to be the greatest secret society leader. Done deal. I like That's Not a Hat, but now I like this one more because I've got a reason for why I am playing this and why I'm so invested into this.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. You got me hooked. Now I want to play that. Now I really want to get into that because I feel
good. It's so good. I'll find out for sure when it's coming out. Out again, I'm going to do a whole post about it in the near future.
Keep me updated.
I got to play with the guy who's publishing it, and it was hilarious. We were laughing
that's
so hard our stomachs hurt.
Oh, that's so great. I love those are the greatest memories right there. Those are literally the memories. Those are like the best memories you can have. You're just
It
like
really is.
enjoying the
Yeah.
memory. Like nothing can beat it. I
Nope.
mean, other than having kids, probably. But with all that now being said, we can dive into Harmonies. Again, we said in the beginning a 1-to-4 player, or was it 1-to-5? I keep
Four
forgetting.
players. Yes, four
1-to-4
players.
player game. Abstract, very fun little. Are they called tiles? I guess I don't know if they're called little tiles or.
I call them tokens usually, like little tokens, you know.
Little tokens that you're placing down. Before we get into the questions here, Elena, if you want to navigate us, there you see how I threw that in. Navigate us of what this game is. Give us a quick overview of what Harmonies is for those that have never heard of this game. You can maybe let us know what this game's about, and then we'll dive deeper into the
Yeah, so in Harmonies, it's really great because the goal is that you're trying to build a landscape to create the perfect harmony for your animals. Of course, birds want to live in a certain kind of environment, and they're going to want to live in a different type of environment than say maybe your mountain goats. They're going to want to live in a different type of environment than the birds might be living in. And the alligator probably does not want to live up in the trees like the birds do. So you have all of this player board, where you're drawing animal cards and you're drawing tiles that are basically like environmental tiles to create the perfect balance of a world on your board for your animals to all live in harmony together. And you'll accumulate points as you go along. And there's a couple different ways you can accumulate points. You can create points by just creating the layout on your board of a well-balanced or a heavily focused on this type of environment. Maybe you really want this sort of rainforest looking type of environment. Then you might just go for trees, and go for a bunch of those. And then in that case, you're going to score based off of how well your trees are built up on your player board. In addition to that, though, you might also, if you're going to build up trees, you might also probably want to look for something that wants to live in the trees just as well. Birds probably want to live in your trees. I'm pretty sure it's koalas want to live in your trees. So you take these little cards, these animal cards, and it'll tell you what kind of environment they want to live in. So the fish or the frogs are a really good example. The frogs want to kind of be right around the water. And so you're going to place these little teeny cube tokens on top of your environmental tokens to create your animals that live there in the best spot. So I like that there's two different aspects of scoring in the game. So you can't just run away with one strategy of playing how you want to build up your environment. You also really want to pull in animals to make them want to come and live on your player board, essentially.
Got you. Okay, yeah.
And that's my Harmonies in a minute.
Yeah, there you go. No, beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, that you couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, exactly what you said. And it's a fun game to play. I will note that this game stresses me out so much. Because I'm like, I need to get my board completed, but then like other people are taking your tiles, and you're like, no, I need it. Oh, I'm like, I was getting so stressed out playing with my boy Raul, and but I'm glad you taught me, and it's a game that I definitely want to play again for sure. But it's a fun one. Go check it out if any of these questions, or as we dive deeper into this board game, if this is something that's interesting to you guys, go check it out. Go check out your local board game, or if you have a board game store, or if you have someone that has the game, check it out. Give it a whirl for yourself, and let us know in the comments below if you enjoy the game.
I don't think you'll regret it. Yeah, I don't think you'll regret it. I think it's a lot of fun for a lot of people. There's not too many people I have met that don't really like it. It's a good game for a lot of people.
No, I agree, 100%. So, which brings us now to these questions here. We're going to look at these questions. For those that are listening for the first time, wondering what is Top Shelf or Yard Sale, it's a segment where we look into board games, deep dive into board games, wondering if this game is worthy for you guys to go out and get and showcase in front of everyone in your house on your top shelf, to saying this is my top shelf game. It's a great game, or it's a game that you'll end up getting and it ends up collecting dust, and maybe ends up in a yard sale, which as board gamers, that's like blasphemous. That's like, how dare you sell a game, but maybe a treasure for us board gamers that find it at someone else was like, ooh, you're selling this game. So
I found some great deals at Goodwill from time to time. Once upon a time I got Lost Ruins of Arnak for $3, so somebody else getting rid of it. I really did. It was $3.29
Really?
at Goodwill that somebody gave me a full set of Lost Ruins of Arnak, nothing missing. I was like,
What?
it was amazing. It was probably one of my best finds at Goodwill ever.
Oh my god! Hey, shame on you if you Goodwill that game. Hey, but good for you. Good for you. Oh my goodness, that's absurd. That's like finding Twilight Imperium for like $10.
It really was.
Oh jeez. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna see if this game hopefully doesn't get sent to the Goodwill. But we developed 8 questions. In order to pass the top shelf rating, it has to at least meet 6 of the 8 questions here. But the challenge is we're obviously as us. We want to top shelf this game for sure. Elena, I'm pretty sure you want to top shelf this game. So we're gonna give a little challenge here and say that we're trying to enter this challenge with unbiased. This is through the lens of... I can
absolutely be unbiased. As much as I love the game, I can totally be, as a navigator and as the guide, I am definitely going to be an unbiased too. Beautiful. To figure out, and pick it apart too.
Yep, so feel free to say no to questions and give it no's, and if it ends up being a yard sale, well, it didn't meet the requirements, but we'll see here. So we'll go ahead and dive deep into these questions here. We'll go with the first question here, and being that we have the navigator here, she's going to be the final say on these questions. She's played this game way more than I have, and so she's an expert on this. So she's gonna be the final say if it's a yes or no. It's her decision, and and let us know in the comments if we were right or wrong. But we'll debate you. We'll civilly debate you about this game.
Yeah, exactly.
But here we go. So first question is this game easy to learn, able to understand, or easy to teach? Is this a game that if I just bought this game and I don't know anything about it, am I able to open up the rule set and be able to read it and understand the game? Or is it like a game where when I read the rule sets, I feel like I need an English degree so I can understand what I'm reading, stuff like that. So what do you think? What do you think, Lena? Do you think this is an easy game to pick up and understand? Or
For me personally, I found it pretty easy to pick up and understand. And that's even come from the standpoint of that I always try to look at it through the lens of the regular person, not like me, who reads, hundreds of rule books a year, but looking at it through the lens of who is some other person who can look through this and read through this. And I feel like a test for me is always, how well can I teach to my family? And that's not the people that are not always heavy board gamers. Can I teach it to them and they understand it pretty quickly and easily? And Harmonies past that. The rule book, for those that are actually watching right now, the rule book is only a couple pages. And one thing that I think is really cool that a lot of companies are starting to gravitate more towards now is a lot of them are putting the little QR code in the bottom there saying, watch this video how to play it. So if you don't like reading rules, you can usually just go and watch a video. Okay. So I think that helps it with playing it. And the rules video is short. There's not a lot of rules. It's a very easy setup. So reading through how to set it up, it's not overwhelming at all. It's literally like lay out some cards and put some tiles on the board. Your setup is complete. Done deal. I can handle that. And then teaching it to people, it's mostly just take tiles and you have the option of taking an animal and completing animal cards. So it's very easy to teach, and I found it very easy to learn. I've taught it to many people, and usually within a round or two, people are understanding it. So I think that's a great testament to it being an easy to learn game and an easy to teach game.
Okay, no, definitely, yeah. And from my experience, being playing it for the first time, I was able to pick it up pretty quickly. We all taught it nice and well, and it wasn't something where it's like, I'm so confused. What do I do on my turn again? It was just quick and simple. I think the more thinking was how do you build your harmonies and stuff like that, which we can dive more into that later. But from a beginner standpoint of playing, I agree with you. It is not that hard of a game to pick up and learn, and it was nice and quick. And we were in the game right away. We weren't like 2-hour rules teach. We were just straight into the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I have no doubt that if somebody goes and picks it up, that they would be able to, somebody who's not even in the hobby and just goes, look, that's a cute lion on the picture of that game. I think I want to pick this up and learn it. I have no doubt that they'd be able to pick it up and read through the rules and go, okay, I know how to play this.
For sure. Definitely. So we'll go with a yes for sure for the first one. Next question here is, so questions 2 and 3 could be combined together, but I separated them just to kind of get a different basis, and I'll explain in a minute here. So the second question is: does this game have good game components? When I'm thinking game components, how well are the board? How's the well of the board? How's the material? Are the tokens really well? Are they just for me personally? I don't have a problem with like cardboard punch outs, but I'm like that's very basic kind of. I mean, I know cost efficient is the best way to go, but if it's something that you want to be like very eye pleasing, how well is the game eye pleasing wise? And then the third question is does this game have good game design? That's like the artwork and stuff. I know it can be combined together with the components, but I wanted to separate them, kind of make them two different things. So we'll go with the second question is, does this game have good game components? How are the tokens, you say? How's the board? How are the cards, the material of the cards? Are they good? Or is this something that could, be very eye-pleasing? We'll leave it up to you, Elena. What do you think?
So, yeah, I think it's very good because as much as, like you said, I am perfectly fine with punching out cardboard and dealing with cardboard components, but I will say it's nice because they're all wooden components. So if you have it like this, people that are watching, if not, trust me, I'm holding little wooden cubes or little wooden circles, but they're all wood, and they're definitely the type that if this was cardboard components, it would not look the same on the board. The wooden components stack up really nicely. They're sturdy, and if you just took cardboard chits and put them on there, it would not have the same visual effect. They'd probably topple over a lot easier. It wouldn't have the same three-dimensional look at the end of it. So, and plus, that also did save one step of not having to punch out cardboard, which is nice. I mean, I don't mind doing it. I understand why it's there. But boy, it is sometimes nice when you can just kind of open up the game and all you got to do is just unwrap some shrink and it's good to go. Yeah. And it even comes little things that they do. They have a section inside the box where you can store the cards, and then they can store the cubes, and then they even have a bag that holds all the wooden token components for it. The board themselves are a nice, sturdier cardboard. I've never had any issues of it. And if you are the type of person who is sort of obsessed with sleeving cards, the cards are very durable. I didn't have any problem with the cards not being durable, but I did also end up sleeving my cards just because I was playing this game so much. And when we get into section 3 where we talk about the artwork, I love the artwork on it, and it is easier to shuffle cards when they're sleeved. The box is enough room for you to actually sleeve your cards, and they still fit in there, which is a huge deal for me because it's nothing more cumbersome than thinking, I really like this game and I want to sleeve cards, and then it's like, haha, it's not going to fit in the box anymore. Yeah. This one you can sleeve them if you want to. You don't have to, because like I said, it's not the type of game that you really need to. It was just a me preference thing that I wanted to, and they fit in there just fine. So I love the components on this. I think they're sturdy. They're durable. They fit. Everything fits into the box very nicely, very compact. No box lifting, nothing falling around all over the place. Top notch on my book for our components.
Beautiful. Okay, perfect. Yeah, definitely go for the yes on this one. Yeah, and I agree. I really enjoyed those tokens. Like when you place in the tokens, it felt really nice. They're really cool, very well thought of, and not just kind of something they got slapped on together just to get the game out. I agree.
And to show that I'm not totally biased, I will say though, if you are the type who has a little bit of some fine motor skills, I will say that sometimes though, the little teeny cubes that are supposed to represent your animals, when you place them on top of, say you're placing them on top of a treetop, if it falls off to the side, sometimes it can be, if you have larger fingers, it can be a little difficult to try and pick them up out of falling off to the side of the board, and now it's stuck between a water token and a tree token and a mountain token, and you're trying to get it without moving everything around. But because it slides really easily, it's not too difficult. If you do have to pick it up and move some things around out of the way, it slides back into place really easily. But just be warned that if you do have, larger fingers and sometimes it slips and falls a little bit, sometimes that can be a little bit more difficult to deal with. But I wouldn't change the token aspect of the way the cubes, putting it onto there like that. I think if they did animal meeples, I think it would have just added a huge amount to the cost of the game. Yeah. And I don't think it would have had the same abstract look with physical animal tokens.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. No, I agree. Yeah. 100%. And then we can go on to the third one now, which is the game design. How's the artwork? How does it eye pleasing? Is it good? Is it something that very enjoyable to look at the cards? I mean, the tokens, the vibrant colors. You can even go design of the game, how it's thought out and played out. But we'll leave it up to you as well. What do you think about this game as having good game design?
Yeah, I love the colors on this one. When we spoke of the colors on it, it's extremely vibrant. It has this sort of Sahara Savannah, lion in the African, in the African desert kind of feel to it on there. And then when you open up the cards, you get more than just this, lion in the desert look to it. You actually get, you can get jungle animals, you can get even animals on a barn and all that. But the colors are beautiful. They're vibrant. There is no muted colors in any of this box or any of the cards. And it continues with the abstract theme of it. The artwork is this really cool abstract. It's not realistic artwork. It's very hand-drawn, sort of this line art with color look. And it has that sort of folklore look to it, like a folk tale, or like you're picking something up almost out of like an old African story that you might be picking up from it. And it's got that sort of tribal artwork with it that lends itself really well to the animals. And then included with the artwork and the design of the game, as you build up your board and you start stacking these tokens on top of each other, or you create this river of single water tokens spreading across the board, it really creates an amazing visual appeal, especially at the end. No, you may not be able to finish the board, which is sometimes a bummer because you want to finish your entire board and see it all completed without any gaps to it.
Yeah.
Which is a difficult task because somebody usually still has a couple pieces or a couple open spaces left over.
Yeah.
But it is neat when you start creating this whole environment on your board where you'll have this mountain range over on one side of your board and they're all connected because you want them to stay connected together. And then you might have trees sort of scattered throughout it, but then you can also see you have these river tiles and these water tiles, weaving through the board to create one big long river with it. And then you start plopping your tiles, your little tokens on there to represent the animals. And you can see as it evolves onto that, okay, that mountain range probably has some, they might have some meerkats in it. I think it's the meerkats are in there, or maybe the meerkats are in the plains or something like that. But it creates this really neat visual appeal to the game. And when it's all said and done and you see it evolving as the game progresses, and by the end of it, you have this beautiful looking, almost like piece of art every single time you play it.
No, I agree. Yeah, I thought the colors were very vibrant. It was awesome, and it was very eye pleasing. I really enjoyed watching the artwork and looking at the cards and the different type of creatures that they drawn on there. It was brilliant, and I thought it was great. And the tokens, I enjoyed how colorful it was. I thought it was very colorful. I'm like, ooh, I like this. It's very, very eye pleasing for sure.
I think if it was cutesy animals, like I love cutesy animals like Everdell or Critter Kitchen type of look. I love them, but I think the abstract game design of Harmonies, I think the more abstract artwork really works well together for what the designers were thinking of this.
I agree.
Wouldn't have been the same if it was cutesy artwork, like Everdell artwork.
I don't think I would have liked it as much if it was like that. Yeah, I think how it's like very tribal, very like hand-drawn, like it's like almost like it was like a cave painting drawing kind of type thing. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah, if it was like 3D, nice chibi looking, colorful, I would be like, this is kind of lame. Nothing wrong with them. It works for board games, but I think it wouldn't have worked at all for Harmonies as well. But yes, definitely, yes. So we'll go with the yes here. So we're 3 for 3 right now. 3 for 8, sorry. So we're good. Let's move on to the next question here is, does this game have good replayability? Is this a game that you can play over again and it won't get stale and won't get boring? It won't be, obviously, the turn order and like your actions and things you do is obviously going to be the same each game, but like the way it's played out or the way each time you play it, is it different? Do you think it'll be fresh, or is it a game that can kind of get really stale really quick? That could be said with any game, if you play it like 70 times a day, then yeah, it's gonna get stale. But it's a game that if you played it maybe every other day or every other week, will still be fresh and stuff. Curious to hear your thoughts on that one. So what do you think on that one, Lena?
For me personally, this is definitely for me, a yes with an asterisk attached to it. Okay. For me, because I like abstract games and I like tile laying games and I like games with animals, it checks the mark for me of being replayable a lot. Now, to be fair, though, on the replayability side, if you're not as much into it, it's probably not going to be as replayable for some people. I feel like some people might get bored of it because it is kind of the same drill. You're drawing animal cards, you're grabbing tiles, and you're placing them on your board and placing tokens on there to represent the animals. If that's not your jam, it's not going to be replayable all that much for you. You probably will play it and enjoy it and like it a few times, but you may not see it as there's a whole bunch of variability in this or there's not a whole bunch of replayability because I'm just playing the same game every single time. But I feel like for what they are aiming for with this one is that if you like those abstract games and you like those sort of cozy, comfortable games, this hits the mark of it because you don't have to find out a whole new strategy every single time you play. I mean, you might I take that back. You might go with different strategies that you might focus more on water this game. You might focus more on fields in this game, but it's not like having to learn an entire new faction in a heavier board game. It's not like I just mentioned Root. It's not like trying to learn the lizard folk versus I just played the, Makita cat and now I'm trying to learn that. Now I'm trying to play the otter folk in Root and trying to wrap my head around it all. You're not going to get that variability. And if you like that, then if you like that where you want to learn and do something brand new and fresh every single time, that's not going to hit it with this one. But if you are like, I don't want to have to relearn an entire thing every single time I play, then this is a good one that it'll be replayable in the sense that you do get fresh new cards every time. Every single time you play, the tokens that come out onto the board for you to choose will be different for you to choose. So every time you play, there is some differences on it because it's going to be laid out differently. So for me, it's yes. I have replayed it countless times because I don't mind the familiarity of the game and it's still fresh enough to bring out new cards and new tiles to make it fun. But if that's not your jam, that would definitely be a no.
Got you.
What about for you? What was it? Yeah. What was your kind of thoughts on the side of it?
So if I'm looking at it as maybe someone who's never played a game, I think it has some good replayability because your board's not going to be the same as it was when you first played it. It's going to be different. I mean, unless you memorized every single landscape you did and you do it again. Right. And okay, then yeah, that's going to be boring because you're literally just the same thing. But yeah, like you were explaining, I think, maybe the turn order is going to be the same. Obviously, the things you do is going to be the same. Grabbing tiles is going to be the same. Now, you do have the randomness of the tile placements of what gets drawn and placed down so you can grab. That's going to be kind of different as well. And yeah, you have different cards that, your little mission cards, you could say, or your animal cards. Those will always be different. So you're always building a board differently every single time. It's not like crazy different where like Betrayal, where it's like 50 different type of ways to play the game. It's not like that. But I think it has enough going for it to be fresh, at least if you play it like every once in a while, for sure. I think, yeah, if you're playing it every single time, then yeah, you're going to just memorize everything and you're just going to like go for the same strategy or something like that. So it's going to be boring. And I like what you said. Yeah, it's not a game if it's a game that you if you're one of those players that doesn't want to learn something completely new every single time you play it, this is a good game for sure to learn. Me personally, I would go with the yes if I'm looking at it from like a beginner's, because yes, it'll be fresh for you playing it once or twice. Because it'll be different. What you grab, maybe you might grab mountains one time, or maybe you might grab, the plains and some. So it'll definitely be different for sure. I will go with the very lowish yes. It's not like a crazy yes play, but it's like it'll pass. It'll pass for sure.
Yes, I don't know. I think so.
Okay, so we'll go with yes on that one. Yes, just maybe with the small asterisks of, it's not something that's a crazy game. That's like it's not a revolutionary replayable game, but it'll get the job done for sure. This next question is does this game have a good setup time, setting it up, placing everything, getting everything ready? The way I phrase this question, or like want to guide this question, is sometimes if I own this game, which I don't, so I haven't had time, what I like to do when I do it is I will literally time myself to see how well the setup time is. And that's from literally taking it from the box and opening the lid up and like grabbing the rules and reading it from there, starting the timer there. So I'm literally starting the timer, picking up the lid, opening the rules, and just reading word for word the word and setting it up. I'll set up for like maybe a 2 or 3 player game and just see how the time is and see how long it would take, because I'm trying to see, as like I just bought this game for the first time and I'm trying to see how it is. So unfortunately, I don't have the game, so I don't have much knowledge of how much the setup time. You obviously have more knowledge of that. A good setup time for me would probably be like maybe 15, 25-minute range to set up. 30 minutes and more. Yeah, you're getting kind of getting wild on that. But I don't know for you. I don't know if you've. I'm pretty sure maybe you've timed yourself, or maybe but you have a gauge and idea of like what do you think the setup time would be for this game if we're playing maybe a 4-player count game or 3 or 4. What do you think?
One really cool thing on Harmonies is that the setup time, whether you're playing solo or with 4 people, is that the setup time is quite literally minutes. I can walk you through the setup time. You take the box off of your shelf, you lay out one board, and you take a handful of 3 tokens and plop them onto, I think it is 5 different slots, or if you're, depending on how many players you're playing with, if you're playing solo, it's 3 different slots. So all you got to do is put out like 15 little tokens on a board. Everybody hands out a player board that you don't have to do anything with, and then you flip over 5 animal cards. That is the setup. That is all you have to do. Oh, okay, and you have to dump out a handful in the middle of the board, in the middle of the table, of the clear or the orange tokens to represent your animal tokens. That is all the setup that is needed in it. So I have gotten this out and I can set it up in minutes, if that. It is so quick, and it's really easy to learn how to set it up. And once you set it up once, it's one of the type of games that it doesn't take really any brain power of going, where does this go again? What does this do again? No, it's literally, I'm going to put the main board out there and drop 3 tokens onto each one, and they just randomly come out of the bag. I'm going to shuffle up my cards, my animal cards. I'm going to place it down and flip them all over. If I really want to switch it up and create some variety in the game, and I want to get out the spirit animal cards, which creates a little extra in-depth of speaking of the variability on it from a previous one, where you might want to have a little bit of a different strategy on it, then all you got to do is you got to shuffle those real quick, and you hand 2 to each player, and they pick 1. That's going to be your spirit animal, which is going to help give you a few extra bonus points at the end of it. That is all the setup that there is. So this one is a great one if you have limited time, if it's the end of the day, or you're kind of in between games, you're at a game day, and this is a perfect one that you can set it up within a couple minutes. It's not like trying to set up Arc Nova, where you have, 200 different cards set up on there, or Earth, where you also have I have 400 cards I got to sift through right now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not like that. It literally takes a couple minutes, if that, and it is done. And it's so easy. I have it memorized how easy it is.
Wonderful. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Big yes. Yeah.
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 It's a game. Yeah. A game that I think, if you're playing with friends, you can easily take it out and just let me set up real quick and then start it. Not like a game where it's like, come back in 20 minutes or 40 minutes before we can play the game. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a beautiful game to set up, very easy, and the way you explain it only took you 2 minutes to explain the setup. So imagine just now setting it up. Perfect. Yeah, definitely. So we'll go with the yes on that one. Yes, definitely yes on setup time. Next question here is this game decently priced, or will it break your wallet when you go and purchase it? I have it pulled up here on the side. I'm looking up here on Amazon. You can get it for $35. Walmart's selling it for $46. I don't know why. Modern Games and More, $35. I'm seeing 35, 40-ish range of the cost of these games. When I say decently priced, my range of decently priced is $15 to maybe 70-ish, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's like a decently priced game, 70-ish, because there's no way you're getting like a big game for like $5. I mean, unless you go to Goodwill, like Lana
Right,
did.
exactly. If you go to Goodwill like I do, scowl out Goodwill, you might find a good deal.
You might get yourself a good, nice
geek
deal.
Market.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're looking at Amazon, these other like companies that sell these board games, or Barnes and Noble, stuff like that, I think $20 to like 80 is kind of pushing, maybe 70 80-ish is an okay, decently priced game. You can get good games. An argument that was told to me was when we were discussing Twilight Imperium, the price of that game. It's a very heavy priced game, but it's like you're getting your money's worth on the gameplay of the game for sure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's that to look. Same with Nemesis. Nemesis is a pretty costly game, but the price the content and stuff that you're getting for the game is worth the price. For this Harmonies, you're getting $30, $40 range. Me personally, I think that's a good, decently priced game. You might have something different to add, but I'll leave it up to you again. Do you think this is a decently priced game, or you might have to save up a couple bucks and wait for it on this one? What do you think?
I think with the way that board games are priced nowadays, I think the fact that you can get Harmonies usually anywhere between $30 to $40 is a really good priced game for what you get. And especially because you are getting wooden tokens and you're getting nice little acrylic cubes out of it. You're not getting, the only cardboard you have in this game is just your player board, which is a nice sturdy cardboard, and some player cards, but you get wooden tokens. You don't have to punch out wooden chits for the next 20 minutes of popping out every single component of the board. It's kind of a take it out of the box and it's nearly ready to play, which is, I think, huge, especially if you are learning, if you're picking this up for the first time, you're new to the hobby, when you don't have to open up a box and feel overwhelmed by what you're about to look at. That is a great price point, I think, for it. I think being able to pick it up between 30 and 40 bucks nowadays, like, yeah, you could probably catch it on sale, which is even better than if you can catch it on sale for less than that.
Yeah.
But considering that some games are $50, $60, $70, I mean, I think, I think Flamecraft goes for like 50, 60 bucks, and that's got quite a big components. And they do have more components on that, but I think for what you get, I think Harmonies is a great price point. And the fact that you can replay it and set it up really easily, quickly and easily, easy to learn, and a lot of people like it. You can teach it to the heavier gamers. Like I have people in my game group that are heavier gamers and they enjoy it. And people like even one of my teenagers that is not, one teenager is really into board games and the other one not so much. And I can teach it to him and he gets it pretty easily.
Okay.
I think you get a lot of bang for your buck of a lot of people that this game will be good for. So 30 to 40 bucks on it is a great price point for me.
Yeah, hands down, I agree with you as well. Yeah, the stuff that you're getting for this game and the amount of money, and 30, 40 bucks, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, definitely easy.
Yeah.
And if it's on sale, like for sure, like you go ahead and snag that up.
If you
for
catch
sure.
it on sale, snag that bad boy right away. I think every now and then you can get it on sale on Amazon, or you wait till Barnes & Noble runs one of those, buy one, get one 30% off deals.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you get your Barnes & Noble, reward bucks, man, go get it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Not a crazy game that's be like, maybe I should save up a month or so to get this. Like, you can get this game hands down. Yeah, I agree. So yes, definitely yes. I mean, we are looking fantastic on this. We've already answered yes on the first 6 questions. So literally, if we answered no on these next 2 questions, it's still a top shelf game. But let's see if we can get all A. Let's see if we can get all A for this one.
Yes.
I'm very curious for this next question because we talked about this a little bit at the beginning about immersion and lore. And even if a game doesn't have immersion or lore on it, we'd like to create some. So I'm very curious as this question is to hear your answer on this one. Does this game have good game lore? So is this a game that you get immersed into the story of what we're trying to do here? Or is it a game where it's like there's maybe like a little paragraph of like what you're trying to do story-wise, but then the main game, when you're playing the game, you're not like trying to dive deep into like, I'm creating this harmony, or it's like a game where it's like, I just got to collect tiles and create this like a little like synchronization stuff like that. I'm very curious to hear that because I know you like to create lore, you like to create stories to get people immersed and stuff like that. So from that aside, do you think without the help of that, do you think standalone, does it have a good lore that we can get involved in, or is it something that
Yeah.
you have to get yourself involved in and start creating this lore? Very curious to hear your answer on that one. What do you think?
So standalone, without me involved in the game, it's going to be pretty straightforward. Because it's an abstract game, you're not going to get a ton of lore in it. You know the purpose is that you're trying to create this sort of perfect harmony for your animals to live on your player board. And that's kind of the extent of it. You can get a little bit of an idea that when you grab a card, like, let me grab a card real quick and see what I can find right off the bat. I've got an example. I found these little wolves right here. So if I'm getting the wolves and I'm putting them into the fields, I might kind of go, yep, that makes perfect sense that I'm trying to, my cards are asleep. So if anyone's watching on video, it's why it's all glared. But, it makes sense. Well, I'm trying to create them into, they want to live between, a forest and a field. Well, they want to live in some trees because they want to have some shelter and all that. So you can get some of that with it. If you have a manta ray like you do on here, you can get that idea with it. But because it's abstract, you're not going to get a full story of why do these wolves want to come live in this part of the heart? Why do these wolves want to come live in these woods? Why does that barn cat want to live in that barn? Oh, that butterfly wants to live over there. You're not going to get that too much. I think there's enough that it makes a lot of sense when you're playing the game to see that those animals, yep, it makes perfect sense that a butterfly is going to want to live in the fields because that's what they like. It makes sense that my mountain goat is going to want to live in the mountains. So you'll get a lot of that does make sense. But a full-on story-wise where even with some of the other games, like I think I just mentioned Flamecraft, where, you have all your dragons going from spot to spot, and you can kind of create a story of why they're going to this shop and why they're going to that shop. Not quite that immersed in it. But if you come play with me, I will probably tell you a story at the end of it of what your animals are. I can create a story for you at the end of it of what your animals are doing and who wants to live there. And you've created a very, a very water-rich environment. So you have all the, have the fish and the frogs and the seals or whatever it is. So.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, definitely. For me personally, this question would probably be like a very low no. Because if I'm trying to grasp for straws to like create a story on this game, like for instance, when I played the game, I wasn't like immersed in like, okay, this is my land, and I was just like, I need to collect these tiles because like I could get the most points, so I can do this. That's a lot with like abstract games as well, like Azul and with Harmonies and stuff like that. It's not like a very story driven game. It's just kind of just here's this, but where the game shines is the mechanics and how you get to the game, how you play the game. That's where it doesn't shine with the storytelling. Like
you said, like with Azul, it's the same thing. Like there's a whole story on Azul of why the tiles fall off the circle components and they fall into the middle. It's because they've fallen onto the floor and or their tiles up for grabs, and if they don't fit in there and they fall to the floor and you get negative points because they're floor tiles and they're broken and stuff like that. But if I'm sitting there telling the story of that every single time I'm playing, no, I'm just grabbing it for points. Like I'm just grabbing it. I'm grabbing points. And it's very similar in this. You might there is a little bit, like you said, a light no on it because you probably do know that if you're grabbing fields that you probably have a solid idea of what animal you're going to be looking for next to add to this. You're going to be looking for something that will want to be in there. You're going to be looking for, the lion that's going to want to be in the field. Or if you create the bricks, you're probably going to be looking for the cats or a bird that likes to build its nest on the roof of the house type of thing.
No, I definitely agree. It's not like, it's not something that, there's stories been written on this stuff like that. Yeah, for sure, definitely. But I'll leave it up to you. I mean, my personal take would be probably like a low no. But
I would say probably a low no on it because it's it's grasping for straws. As much as I'd love to say it's got a great story, but it's the same thing. It's an abstract game, and abstract games are hard to give a lot of story to.
So if you're playing this game, make sure you have the navigator with you so she can guide you into a great storyline.
I will guide you through a whole story for you.
Yes, they're beautiful. Love it. So we all need a navigator for that one. Okay, so we go with the final question here, and then we'll wrap up the pod here. And that is, does this game have good turn pacing, good turn order? Is this a game that I'm not going to be pulling out my phone because you're taking a bit of a long time, or on your turn it takes a while because you got to do A, B, and C, and D, and F. Or is this game that keeps you engaged? Turn it's going to go quickly that you don't have enough time to pull out your phone to like look at something because it'd be like it's your turn. You're like, oh snap, sorry. So what do you think on that? Do you think this is a good turn pacing game, or is it kind of a slowish kind of game?
I think it's a pretty good turn pacing game with a very slight little small asterisk that if you're playing with somebody who is the AP analysis paralysis prone, fair warning, they might get stuck sitting there staring for a good moment trying to figure out where to put the tiles at. However, for the most part, I do think it keeps you engaged because you want to keep watching what tiles are going to be taken, especially when you're playing with multiple people. When it's 2 players, it's pretty quick. It's very quick back and forth because they take their tiles, they know it. And you can even really, as long as they know they're absolutely committed to those tiles, you can kind of start going on with the next turn. But there's enough interaction in it by somebody taking the tiles from the board or taking the animal that you're eyeballing, because you can only take 1 animal per turn. Same with your tiles. You can only take 1 tile per turn or 1 group of tiles per turn. So if somebody takes what you're looking for, that keeps me engaged enough to watch it and to know, I know what I'm looking for. I know I'm looking for some tree trunks because I need those little brown tokens because I need to make some trees. And my birds aren't going to be happy if I don't have a spot for those trees. And, oh, look, there's some trees that came out and somebody took it from me. So there's definitely a lot of watching it and watching the player interaction. And honestly, though, as long as you're not with somebody who is absolutely stuck in a total analysis paralysis, the moves are pretty quick. You only have 3 tiles to lay down. So you take them to your board. And usually, as long as you've been watching, you can usually know a pretty good idea of where you're going to put them right away. Grab your animals, your animal card, if you want one, and then place down the token. So between turns is pretty darn quick, I think. Not too much downtime.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100% agree on that. Yeah, I played it a two-player game, and that was back and forth, and I had plenty of moments where I'm like, do not take that pile, and they took the pile, and I was like,
and they took no, I needed that pile.
Exactly, and I was like, you're killing me, man. Like I can't build this. I can't now because you keep taking all my piles. And he's like, sorry, and then like I think we were both on the same wavelength because we were trying to build the same kind of like synergy on our board. So I'm like, dude, stop it, and like I think it came toward later rounds where like one of us gave up. Like, all right, I'm not gonna build these oceans anymore. I'm just gonna build this whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna abandon this and go do something else now.
I can change up my strategy exactly. So I was just like, So, but I was engaged. I didn't have my phone on me at all. I mean, it was on me, but like I didn't have to take it out.
Right.
I wasn't, bored, or we didn't ask the in the board game community. I like to call it the nice way of saying hurry up. The question of whose turn is it again, or whose turn is it? That's the nice way of saying, hey, hurry up. Like hurry up.
Hurry up now. Yeah. Is it still my turn? Yeah, that's always the classic. Is it my turn? Oh no, it's not. Okay, I'm sorry. You just took that long to do your turn. No.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, it's my turn. Oh, whose turn is it? Oh, you should. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's the nice way, guys, of saying it. So
that's the nice way of saying it. Yes.
Yeah, if you're a new board gamer and you're playing with experienced board gamers and they ask that question, you should probably.
You might want to clue in that sometimes. And
let's
if it's truly me not doing that, I will usually give a very fair preface and be like, I truly was not paying attention and I don't know whose turn it is right now. I was zoning out. I'll warn people with it to say, I was the one zoning out. I don't know. It's not you taking too long. It was just me who was in La La Land for a minute.
Nope. Same,
but for the most part, if it is kind of like it's taking too long, you sit there and go, whose turn is it again? Is it my turn? Is it your turn?
Yep. So there it is. So exactly. So some key phrases there you can have that, and we had an episode beforehand. Go check that out where we did like kind of an explanation of board game jargons with a good friend Raul, and we talked about AP, and we said the nice way of saying whose turn is it? Oh, hurry up.
Yes.
And so go check out that episode if you guys are curious. But yeah, anyway, with all that talk and deep dive, we finished up our questions, and we've finished all 8 questions, and this game got 7 out of 8, meaning that Harmonies is a top shelf game. So we've made it.
It really is. And it is quite literally, it sits on my top shelf. I was just sharing, I think it was right before we started the recording, and I was like, wait, I gotta find my copy of Harmonies because I want to have it sitting next to me while we're talking about it. And I said, I just rearranged my room, and I was like, where did I put it? I'm like, oh, that's right. I literally put it on the top of my shelf,
on
right?
The top shelf,
right? But it was watching. It's right behind me, that little gap right there behind me. If not, you gotta go watch the YouTube video to see what I'm pointing to. And
exactly.
There's my top shelf. It sits on my top shelf because it's been such a hit.
For Lana, it's definitely on her top shelf, literally. and physically and metaphorically speaking.
Yes.
It's a top shelf.
Exactly.
Guys, check out that game. Check out Harmonies. I think it's a great game. I want to play it now that we've been talking about it. So we're going to get some rounds going on BGA, Lena, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Always feel free to come find me on BGA for the game of that. I will always play it.
Yes, I'm very excited at that. But yeah, it's a fun game, guys. Great game to introduce for all ages. And you know, if you're a hardcore gamer or a beginner, this is a great game for you to have on your top shelf. No yard sale needed. And so, yeah, we finished off our top shelf and yard sale on our closing segments here. Elaine, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. You are amazing. You are awesome. I love chatting with you. I just want to chat with you for like hours. Like, I don't even want to record. I just want to just chat with you and just talk board games.
I know. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be on here. I love talking with you. I love talking with people in general. Everybody's always feel free to reach out and just chat with me. I will chat it up. And you know, the solution then is we have to find a convention to go to, so where we can just sit and play games all day together. You know, I got to find one on the West Coast to go to.
Yes.
Or you just got to come out to one here. You know, or we meet somewhere in the middle.
In the middle,
gateway, you know, Geekway to the West. Yeah.
Yes, we got to do something. Yeah, we got to definitely set something up. And yeah, we'll be like, you going to this con? Yeah, I'm going to this con. All right, let's go. Let's set up. We're going to play games all day.
That's usually what I do. Yeah.
You already mentioned it a little bit earlier, and we talked about it in the beginning of the podcast. But I'd like to do a minute of just do some plugins. We've already talked about your IG. If you want to kind of reiterate where they can find you, I'm going to leave links below on the description so they can find you. Guys, you got to be following her. Like, literally, like, if you made it this far, you should stop this episode right now and go follow her. Give her some love. Give her all the hearts on all her posts and let her know that we sent you there and that she's awesome. She's great. She can talk board games all day. So if you're curious, if you just want to chat with her about board games, she'll chat with you about board games. But we'll leave it on the floor for you, Lena, if you want to plug in your channel. Also, we've kind of mentioned up the Level Up podcast, another podcast you guys should be checking out. The guys there are awesome. I've been listening to the episodes. They're so professional. I like listening to them. I'm like, man, these guys are so pro. I'm over here just like fumbling my words, and they're over there just like nice and pro. And like, I'm like, man.
It helps that we've got Scott on there, King, who is the king of our Renaissance Festival, and he's a professional actor. So we always joke that he's our, you know, he puts us all to shame with being able to have such a voice presence with it. But
it shows.
There's also a lot of editing that goes on. Boy, sometimes if you can see behind the scenes of our studio, we don't do cameras when we record on there, which is sometimes nice, so you can see sometimes the blundering of stuff, or sometimes it gets left in very purposely if you go back and find some gems of us fumbling over words. There's a golden gem I will share of an episode from probably like a year ago where I wrote down a note for myself. We were talking about, I was trying to mention about scythe, and you ever look at a word and you make a note for yourself, and you know, scythe is the type of word that C is completely silent, so when you read it, you want to say it very differently. And it was a hilarious moment that when I type it out, so every time I go to type out scythe, I always think in my head how to spell it correctly. I'm always like, SC, scythe, like that. And when I went to go say something with scythe, and then I mistakenly blurted out scythe, and boy, it was the talk of some whatever for a hilarious moment that I am, you know, and time has gone on, but now I find it funny to talk about. At the moment I was like, please edit that out. And he was like, oh no, this is staying.
This is staying on here.
Now.
Yes.
This is staying now.
This will live with you forever.
I just read it the way I was typing it. I was typing out scythe, you know, trying to spell it correctly, making a note. Don't forget to talk about this. And I blurted out scythe instead of scythe. And that was a hilarious moment. But
I love that.
On the topic, you can find me on Instagram. That's my main hub of where I'm at. I'm growing more on TikTok. So if you like TikTok, feel free to follow me over there. I have just started kind of plugging more to over there if you like reading things or just kind of want to find the central spot of where everything is. I did start a blog site recently, and it's just my name, just navigatorlana.com. You can go there and find all the links to everything on there. But my main hub is on Instagram. And if you do like podcasts, once you're done catching up on all the episodes on Games Eat Moss, then you can come over and hang out with us on the Level Up Board Game podcast and find plenty of episodes on there where we talk about all kinds of different, strictly just board games. If you want to find some of my game trotting because you're curious about other places in the world, I'm on there every few episodes with that, every couple months on there. But any of those places. But Central Hub, if you find me on Instagram or the website that I have, you can find me everywhere after that. That's the link to go to.
Definitely. Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, I'll leave all the links below. So you guys, please give them a follow. Give Level Up Podcast some love. They're great guys. They talk all things board games. To get all your board game news, go check them out. Check out Navigator Lana on Instagram, all the socials. Go check them. Go check out her blog. I'm a ask you for the link for that because I want to start reading your blog now.
Yeah.
And
it's very new, but it's growing.
Let's go. Let's get that popping. You guys, your channel's popping. You guys are doing good, phenomenal work. I love watching you guys' content. You guys are great and amazing.
I appreciate you having me on here. I love talking with people. I love connecting with it. I love, especially even more so when I get to talk to like another kindred spirit like you, and we're on the same wavelength of so many different things.
Yes.
You know, anytime you're ever bored and looking for somebody else to come hang out, I will happily come hang out anytime.
Definitely. No, I'm always going to hit you up. I'm going to hit you up on Instagram all the time. Just chat up. What do you think about
Fabulous.
this game? We're gonna chat stuff like that. And then for those that have stuck around, thank you so much for listening. You can also find Games y Mas on all socials. We're on X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio. You go give us a follow. We're at Games y Mas Pod. You can find us there. Or if you want to send us an email, or send us any questions or any thoughts, you can find us at gamesymaspod@gmail.com. That is gamesymaspod@gmail.com. Navigator Lana, thank you so much for joining us here. It was such an honor, a pleasure. Definitely want to have you back. We want to talk more board games. We want to do some more fun stuff with you on this podcast whenever you have the time. And I'm looking forward to seeing our friendship grow. Us kindred spirits, we've got to stick together. You know, we think alike. I think we're going to have same opinions on a lot of things and stuff. So thank you so much for joining us, Lana. It was such an honor, pleasure. I'm sad that we have to end it here, but it's not the end. It's a see you later. We're going to talk some more as well.
Yes.
And so thank you so much, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Y nos vemos para la próxima.
Bye, everybody.